Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is Tuesday night, of course. That can only mean one thing. We are here once again for Flashpoint Racing League. Of course, it is round number 2 of the season. First race, of course, in Australia, and now we are here at arguably the best, and definitely, if not, it's in the conversation, racing circuit in the world. It is Imola. It is the Italian Grand Prix here for round number 2 of the championship. And for anyone who missed it last time out, of course, we will go back over the race results there. Of course, it was Gatkowski who took the win initially in the Mercedes-Benz, then followed up by Frankis. Great race for him in the end in the Alpine. And of course, it is a home race for Frankis at the moment. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe his fellow patriot, Peck, is not with us this evening. I'm just looking through now. No, I don't think he is. But yeah, home race for Frankis, of course. So he'll be looking for another brilliant result here today as well. And then Igor in the Mercedes-Benz had to play second fiddle to his teammate last time out. He'll be hoping to change that, I'm sure, when he comes out of the pits and starts his qualifying session in P3. And then, of course, it was Vaporizer in P4. I mean, the man who started on pole last week, of course, I think he would have been looking for more from the race. He did get a penalty, which really pushed him down, of course, across the line in second place, only just behind Gatkowski. And yet, it was as simple as that. He lost the race on penalties due to the fact that he got a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit, should I say. So it was only P4 for Vaporizer in the end, but I'm sure we'll be looking for some redemption today. And then it was Luke in P5, Peck in P6. It was Mick in P7, Zorzo 8th, Troje in 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 with 1 point, of course, was Enlar Talisber in the race last week. So, like I say, we've got quite a few new drivers you might not have seen in the lobby tonight. One of the drivers, of course, who is back, didn't get to round 1 this week, but of course is back today, is this man. It is Selly 360 in the Aston Martin. Of course, for anyone who's new to Flashpoint, he is the reigning defending champion at the moment. Of course, with them taking a race out, it's going to be hard for him to bring it back so quickly and try and get into championship contention. Of course, every point matters in this league. Just giving him some space there, you can see as he comes around the track. But of course, 25 points gone away from him already, with Gatkowski taking the championship lead, of course, last time out with that race win in Australia. I'm sure Selly will want to get a good result to fight back here today. And another man as well, who's different and you might not have seen before, is this man, Justas. Now, for anyone who doesn't know who Justas is, I know quite a bit about him. He raced in League of Europe Division 1 and was battling it out for the championship there as well. Absolutely incredible speed he has in his hands. So let's see actually as we ride on board, going around the final few corners. Let's see what he can do now as we ride on board, going through the final few corners and up towards the start-finish straight now, because, like I say, Justas, an absolutely incredible qualifier usually. So let's see what he can do. As you get to see one of the Ferraris in the special livery going out of the way there. You see this straight isn't really straight as you go towards turn 1. Chucks it into the corners. Don't want to clip the curbs too much because it can throw the car off balance, but he does it absolutely brilliantly. Going through towards the end of the first sector now, just into the Villeneuve chicane. Chucks it in, down a few gears. The car does look on rails at the moment, which is good to see. End of the sector 1 split now. Let's get the telemetry up, shall we? Let's see what the lap times are saying. He gets a bit of a slipstream there, actually, to be fair, which could help him from the AlphaTauri there. Chuck it into the long left-hander now. Great corner in qualifying, down 1 gear. A bit tentative on the throttle there from Justas. So let's see what he can do now. He goes to Aqua Minerale. Brilliant few corners here. Chucks it in, down a few gears. Make sure not to lock up. Don't run up too wide against the curve because you will lose time. And then, of course, Variante Alta. Got to chuck the car into the corner now. See how much curb he takes. Quite a bit there. Does very well not to lose the rear end. Keeps it on the track. Doesn't get any invalidation there. As we go through now, we've got a 1:14 flat from Mick. He's the first time on the board now. Let's see what the rest of the drivers can do. Like I say, Justas coming around the final few corners now into Ravazza 1. He does lock up the rears there. I could hear it just on the exit. He doesn't want to run too wide, but he doesn't. Like I say, go towards the line now. Can he be that 1:14 set by Mick as we come through now into 13.5? Great lap from Justas initially. Like I say, that is purple for the Hash driver. Let's see what everyone else is doing. Igor in the first sector. What's his time? 23.8. So it's not exactly what he'll be looking for currently. What about Gatkowski, of course, championship leader, great qualifier usually. Coming around the final few corners now, what can he do? Keen to look at Vaporizer as well when he comes across the line. As Spicer, he gets a 113.9, but no, into the pits goes Gatkowski. He's not happy with that lap, and he wants to get another set of tyres on and wants to see what he can do. Let's see where Igor is on the track now. Coming through the middle sector split just about now, 49.4, chucks it up them few corners. Like I say, it always looks like everyone's invalidating against those corners, but they're actually just doing exactly what they need to do. As some of the lap times are coming in thick and fast now. No one has quite got to Justas until now. Selly 360, the man, the champion at the moment, back again up to the top of the timetables. Let's see what Igor can do. Can he do anything about that? Almost runs it too far wide, but it comes across the line now. Is it going to be anywhere close to that time? No, it's a 14.3 in the end. Not a good time initially for Igor. So interesting to see what he'll do. Down to P10 already, but it is Selly 360 in P1, and then Zorzo, the Aston Martin's putting a good show on early on to make it P1 and P3 for those drivers. So interesting to see now what the rest of the grid can do. Actually, this week as well, going to turn off the telemetry because I feel like it gets in the way quite a bit. So got me through, like I say, Selly 360. I mean, yes, he wasn't here last week for one reason or another, but you can see there he's come back with a vengeance. First lap back, and he's put it to the top of the timesheets. Justas into the pits now. Carl goes into P3 as well. Great time from him in the Ferrari. Like we say, I mean, Carl has always been a great qualifier. We saw it last time out. I must say that the Ferrari livery is absolutely beautiful in the Imola sunshine here today. As Troje gets into the session, which is good to see. He'll be here soon, I'm sure, doing some laps. Talisbury as well into P6, and Lars in P5 as well. Great to see him up there in the Williams car too, as he cuts all the circuit. Hopefully doesn't get in two-way there. Talisbury in P6. Vaporizer as well. I was going to say, look out for what time he can do, but 13.9. I mean, it's a good... Don't get me wrong, these times are very good, but this is the difference. You know, 0.4 of a second, it's separating you from first to 7th place. And not only that, I mean, 1,000th of a second more for Vaporizer, then to be upper position, because 1,000th of a second between him and Talisbury. And then look at Frankie's behind as well. 5,000ths of a second separate 6th, 7th and 8th. Those are the margins in Flashpoint, and like I say, it is absolutely massively important to get your first lap in so you can kind of let loose of all that stress, all that worry of getting a good time in. And it must mean that Selly 360, Justas, of course, Carl and Zorzo are in a good spot at the moment, but at the moment it looks like it is a two-horse race unless Gatkowski, Igor and of course Vaporizer can get a good time in at the moment. It is just Selly 360, the reigning champion, back again on pole position. Mickey's on an outlap at the moment as well. What about Gatkowski? He's just starting his lap as well now, so let's see what he can do in the Mercedes-Benz. As he chucks it into the first few corners now, he uses a lot more of the curb than Justas decided to. I'm not sure what Selly's doing at the moment as well. You can see he runs it wide there as well. What can he do? He goes into the Villeneuve chicane now, chucks it into the corner. And like I say, that car is on absolute rails at the moment. The man, of course, who won last time out is purple in the first sector, so it's looking good for him at the moment. Gets a bit squirrely on the exit though. Could have lost a little bit of time coming up the hill now. As we chuck it into the long left-hander here, brilliant corner. Don't want to run it too wide. You can see there the white line protrudes quite a bit into the circuit, into Aqua Minerale, and chucks it into the first bit. You don't need to worry about that. And then down a few gears. Don't touch the curbs too much. That looks absolutely perfect for the man in black, the Mercedes-Benz. Coming through the middle sector now, it's another purple sector. Chucks it into here now. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant so far. Chucks it in, didn't get the invalidation. And he could be on track for top two on the grid, and if not, definitely pole position as he come through into the final few corners now. Don't want to run too wide there as he comes through. Final few corners now, and it's looking good as he comes towards the line. What can Gatkowski do? It's looking like a 13. Yes, it is 13.7. Lost a bit of time in the final sector, but he is up in P3, and that is going to be a bit of damage limitation at the moment for Gatkowski. Great in the end to do just as well there. And I'm sure he's going to come right round back to the pits as soon as he can now. Carl coming out as well, Selly out, and Justas just starting his lap now. Oh, is he on? Oh, I thought he always went too wide there, but no, he kept it on the track just about. He is up by 600 of a second in the first sector. That'll put him on track for there or thereabouts pole position. What can he do in the middle sector? He needs to keep that time down. He needs to find whatever he can. What can he do as he come through the final few corners now? Oh, he got a bit distracted, I think, there from the cars in front. Yeah, he's losing the rear end. That Red Bull distracts him ever so slightly as he come through the final few corners now. Can he get another slipstream from the cars in front? Yes, he can. But oh, they're absolutely in the way. What is that AlphaTauri doing? Sat on the racing line. Comes through the final corner now. Let's hope for his sake that he did not get held up at all, but he did. He's into the pit lane. And the AlphaTauri behind, I don't know who it was. I think it might have been, yeah, it was Max. Really stood in the way there, and that is not what you like to see when a man is on a flying lap. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose, but that is absolutely ruined Justas's second attempt at pole position. Igor on an outlap as well, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. And Troye as well, of course, scored some points last time out. Let's see what he can do. Spanias as well, of course. He was in the Ferrari last season, but he is here in the Mercedes-Benz this time. What about Dirk as well? Not put a lap time on the board yet. Interesting to see what he can do in the McLaren. Coming through the final few corners now. It looks like it's on. It looks good at the moment. Didn't use all the track though. What can he do as he comes across the line? It's looking like a decent time. It's a 14 flat, puts him in P13. And 1,000 of a second separates him and Mick at the moment. But like I said, there's so little margin between everybody on the grid at the moment. It's only 1 second separating pole position down to 18th. What is Troye doing? Still on his outlap, as is Spanias actually on his lap at the moment as well. Let's see what he can do in the Alpine. Not put a representative time on at the moment, as I believe Selly's about to start his lap as well, so I'll see what he can do in a moment. Around the final few corners now. Oh, we see Mercedes-Benz actually spun out. Was that Igor? I think it might have been Igor. Yes, it was twisted actually off at the moment as well. Was there a bit of contact between the drivers? I hope not. The Mercedes-Benz is off as well. Selly comes across the line now, but he's invalidated his time too, so he'll be coming into the pit lane. Was there a bit of contact potentially between the drivers as Max goes P3, Lars up into P4, Gatkowski down now into 5th place. He's out of the pits now too. Carl invalidates his time as he was 1/10 up on it as well, so I had to put him even higher, but he's invalidated his time. Spanias though will be happy with that, I'm sure, at the moment. Zorzo, he's up on his time as well. Of course, this man was in P3 after the first round of laps were done. Now he's up by 1/10 of a second. What can he do as he come through the final few corners now? Interesting to see if he can get higher up the grid. Of course, so little margins between everyone. As Vaporizer sets a 13.4. What a lap from the man in the Haas. Of course, he took pole position last time out. He's drawing second blood as Azem goes 5th fastest as well. What about Zorzo though? Coming across the line now. What's it going to be from that man? It's a 13.7. Stays in P8 at the moment. But Azem goes into P5. Max P4 now. Justas down into 3rd. Selly 2nd. And it is Vaporizer. Brilliant lap from him. Puts him back up into pole position. And the two Haas drivers now battling it out with the Aston Martin of Selly 360 at the moment. What can Gatkowski do, and what can Igor do as well? He's at a 14.3. It's not what he needs at the moment. He's completely down in his time. He is not happy, I don't think, of course. He's been off the track. I don't know if he had contact, but he was an AlphaTauri. I think it was Twist who obviously had the contact with, so hopefully for their sake there wasn't any problems as Gatkowski now starts what will, I'm sure, be his final flying lap, unless he's got 4 sets of tyres now. As Frankis goes P4, great lap from the man in the Alpine, of course, finished 2nd last time out. He'll be wanting to do one better this week. What can Gatkowski do as he go through the first few corners now? Just like every lap, the car looks on absolute rails for Gatkowski, but of course, he lost a bit of time in the final sector on his last lap. Let's see what he can do as he goes through the Villeneuve chicane now. Up by 300ths of a second, still purple first sector. If he can keep this together, Gatkowski will be there or thereabouts on pole position, up on the time of Vaporizer. He is there or thereabouts, chucks it into the left-hander now, doesn't use all the circuit, make sure he stays within the white line. Now down to Aqua Minerale. What can he do? The double right-hander, such a brilliant set of corners. It looks good so far for Gatkowski. Coming through now. The top of the circuit, the quick chicane, flicks it through, and he invalidates his time. He invalidates his time. Gatkowski, that was his last opportunity, unless he's got another set of tyres. If he's got the 4th set of softs, he should be fine. But he has invalidated his time at the top of the circuit, and this is going from bad to worse for the championship leader. He is going to have to do everything he can now on his final lap. Throw everything he can at the circuit and see what sticks. Frankis, I'm sure, will be happy at the moment with P4 just getting out of the way of the Ferrari coming down the hill, which is good to see. Doesn't want to get in the way from the Ferrari drivers. So let's see what they can do now. Carl's on his out lap 2. It is Daddlepad who starts his flying lap now. Let's see what he can do in the Ferrari. Not put a representative time really on the board yet. Troye still not put a lap time on, just keeps invalidating. Vaporizer is still in the pits. Selly on his out lap now as well. Justas in the pits. So interesting to see what's happening now. Zorzo comes into the garage, sorry. Haller's on his out lap as well, and the driver's just starting to wind up now for their final few laps. As Luke starts his lap as well now, I believe. Yes, he is. Coming through the first sets now. What can the Alfa Romeo man do? Is he there or thereabouts? Of course, it was a 23 flat, I think, was the first sector time. He's up by 700ths of a second now, which is good to see. What about Daddlepad as well? Halfway through the lap as Igor comes out. What can he do in the Ferrari? Yes, he's up on his time by nearly 1.5 tenths of a second. This will put him there or thereabouts in 10th to 14th, around that area, depending, of course, on what his final sector can be. Let's see what it is. He comes down the hill now. Such a tricky braking zone here. It's really easy to lock the inside front. Chucks it in now, though. Is he going to stay on the track? Yes, he does. Just about. Around the final corner, up to the line now. What can the man in the Ferrari do? Of course, home race for the team. As he comes across the line, it's a 14 flat. Puts him in P14. Not, I'm sure, what he'll be looking for. But what can Luke do? 300ths of a second up on his time at the moment. This will put him just above Daddlepad, actually. We can keep this on the circuit and up on his time as he comes across the line now. Will it be a 13 for himself? Yes, it is a 13.9. Puts him into P13. Great time in the end for him. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. As Mick is down on his time. He's backed out of that one. Like I say, Talisman starts his lap 2 now. Carl, this is a man who I'm definitely interested to see on what he can do. Of course, we've got times coming in thick and fast from everybody now. As Lars is up on his time as well, but I'm really interested to see what Carl can do. Of course, usually it's such a great qualifier, up by 0.2 of a second. This will put him there or thereabouts near the front row, of course, but he loses it almost as it comes around the final few corners now. Of course, home race for the team, like I said, coming towards the line. Now, what can Carl do in the Ferrari? Coming across the line, it's a 13.4. Puts him almost on pole position, but it's a great lap in the end, puts him in P2. I knew he's a great qualifier, and he's shown it there again. Not quite pole position, but it is up there in Sally 360. He's feeling the pressure. He almost lost the rear end coming through the first chicane there. Through Tamburello he went, and the rear just stepped away from him through Villeneuve now. As we come through, he's up by 100th of a second. He is purple in the first sector, but I think he's lost time initially on what he could do. So let's see what the rest of the lap holds for the reigning champion. Let's ride on board with the Aston Martin now. Comes through. It's so easy to run slightly wide there. As we go through to Aqua Minerale now, don't worry about the first right-hander, it's this one that really matters. Comes through, loses the rear again ever so slightly. And it's the Haas in front of him, of course, he's fighting for pole position with. And he almost loses it, runs it ever so slightly wide. Look at that, up by 0.2 of a second from Selly. This is an absolute incredible lap from the reigning champion. What can he do in the final few corners now? If he improves by 0.2 of a second, I'll be absolutely starstruck by this lap. Comes around the final few corners now, the reigning champion. One more corner to go, comes up to the line, almost goes too far wide. That could have lost him a bit of time, but as he comes up to the line now, what can he do? It's a 13.1. What a time from the man in the Aston Martin. Absolutely incredible from the reigning champion. Vaporizer is going to want something to say about that, though, as is Justas, as he comes across the line to start his lap 2. So it's Justas and Selly 360. Interested to see what they can do. What about Gatkowski as well? He's coming through the first sector. What time can he do? Up by 1/10 of a second on his time. Initially, it's looking good for him. Igor as well. He's looking there or thereabouts to get into the top 4. What can he do in the Mercedes-Benz? Comes around the final few corners now. He's kind of been in the shadow of his teammate the last race. He doesn't want to do that this time, though, as he almost was wide, and he does. And he's invalidated his time. I cannot believe it. Igor, one of the favourites for qualifying, puts a 13.6 in. Oh, as we've got a Williams spinning across the line as well. That's not what you like to see. Lars spins across the line. But the big story of qualifying at the moment is Justas. He invalidates his time. He can't improve. What about Vaporizer then? He's up by 0.09 of a second. This is not going to be good enough for that man. What about Gatkowski coming across the line just about now? Still on the track only. As he comes around the final corner now, can the championship leader pull something back from what has been an awful qualifying so far? Comes across the line to 13.4. Keeps it into P4. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. What about Vaporizer? Can he snatch pole position back? No, he cannot. He is down on his time. And it looks to me, after Justas invalidates his time, it's going to be the reigning champion, on pole position. It was a 13.4 in the end for Justas, but of course it was invalidated. That would have put him into P3, I think it was, in the end, as the cars, of course, do their usual crashing into each other. But in the end, it is the championship leader, Selly 360. What a time from the Aston Martin man. And like I mentioned before, absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. So, Selly, I mean, what can you say about that time? 1:13.1. That's esports times from the reigning champion. Absolutely incredible. I said I'd leave me starstruck, and it's almost like we lost for words at 13.1. Best part of 0.3 of a second quicker than NSX Vaporizer, who isn't any slouch, let's be real. So after qualifying is done, it is Selly 360, the reigning champion. Of course, he needs a bit of a bounce back after not being here for the first race of the season. He's on pole position by Vaporizer and Carl's in the Ferrari. Of course, I'm sure that Tifosi will be happy with a P3 on track at the moment. But the big story for me from qualifying, if you're just joining us now, Igor in 20th and last place on the grid. A really scrappy qualifying from the Mercedes man. Of course, he finished P3 last time out at the Australian Grand Prix. And a man who will be, I'm sure, looking to fight for the World Championship this season, down in last place on the grid. As we ride on board with Gatkowski now, who did what he could and kind of pulled it back, let's say, to make it P4. But in the end, like I mentioned, it is Selly 360, the reigning champion, on pole position at the moment, then followed by Vaporizer in second place. Carl in P3, great qualifying from him once again. Then Gatkowski, damage limitation, in P4. Arzem in P5, great qualifying from that man in the Alfa Romeo. And Frankis in his home country in P6. Dirk in P7. Justas, what could have been for him? I mean, he is so good in the race, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do there. But he's down in P8 at the moment. Then Spanias P9 and Zorzo round out the top 10. Max in P11, of course, was going away a bit, actually, of some of the drivers. Hopefully it didn't cause too much of an issue in P11. Lars in 12th, Talisba 13th, Luke in 14th, Spicer 15th, Dapplepad in 16th, Mick in 17th, Trojay 18th, Swiss 19th, and then of course Igor down in last place on the grid. Interesting to see what he can do in the Mercedes-Benz, but it's going to be very much climbing up a hill for him now as the race gets started here in Imola. And it is absolutely chucking it down. You can see it there on the screen. Amazing to see that we are going to get a wet race. I know it sounds silly, but of course we all love a wet race. Makes it so much harder for the drivers, makes it so much more exciting for us when starting the race, and of course when watching it as well. So interesting to see what the drivers will be doing here. I mean, a lot of downforce usually is what the drivers will go for, I'm sure, in the wet conditions, but by the times that we saw from qualifying, I don't believe they were. We just wait for the teams now. Everyone is making some last adjustments. Here we go. The race is about to start. Look at the tyres on the cars. It's absolutely lashing it down in here in Imola as the lights finally go out now. Selly 360 tentative off the line. Vaporizer gets a lot of wheel spin, but I think everybody does as well as the cars go towards turn one now. And it looks like we've got a bit of battling in the background as well. Carl trying to go down the inside of the Haas of Vaporizer. Well, can he get P2? Yes, bit of contact. Vaporizer gets pushed wide over the curbs. He gets Hamilton outside, and then Gatkowski up into P3 as well. Good start from him, but Vaporizer down into P5. Dirk, great start from the McLaren driver up into P5 as well. Arzem as well up into P4, right underneath the rear wing of Gatkowski, but Selly 360 gets the start he wanted. Carl was really aggressive going into turn 1 and pushed Vaporizer wide, and that's put him down into P6 as we got some battling in the background as well. Looks like Eagles had a bit of a tentative start in the Mercedes-Benz up into 18th place though, so he's doing everything he can there. Justas didn't get the best start either, but you can see the Mercedes-Benz driver, he's going to do everything he can. As you see the AlphaTauri going down the inside as well, pushes the cars wide. You can see the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri going through their Selly 360 at the start. Has already got a 1.2 second lead on the cars behind. Absolutely brilliant start from the Aston Martin driver. And then as you were behind, Carl keeping Gatkowski behind at the moment. And then of course everybody single file through the chicane here as we've got some people battling. Oh, and the Ferrari is round. The Ferrari of Dappelpad gets spun round. I think there's a bit of contact I'm not entirely certain with, but the Ferrari driver in front of the Tifosi, they are going to have their heads in their hands. As he comes round now, and he is down into P20. You can see Carl almost loses it, actually, going around the final corner there as well. Thankfully, him keeps it on the circuit. He's the last hope for the Tifosi at the moment, as we see Vaporizer going side by side with Arzem, I believe, going towards turn 1. Bit of contact between the two drivers. Can Vaporizer get through on the inside? Arzem's not giving him too much space, just about enough. Goes wide again, though, does Vaporizer. Vaporizer over the curbs for the second time in as many laps, and that is going to put Frankis, the man who finished second, bit of battling between them two now as well, side by side into the Villeneuve chicane. Can they stay without contact? Yes, they do. What can Frankis do? Can they try and get a move around the outside? A bit more grip, of course, on the outside on the wet line when racing. But at the moment, it looks to me like Frankis is going to have to stick behind Vaporizer, not the start that he's going to have wanted after starting second on the grid for Vaporizer. Arzem up into P5. Dirk, great start from him. And then Gatkowski, Carl, and of course Selly's just absolutely checked out initially at the front. Look at him. Championship leader. He is not looking to stay within this race at all. And look at the positions that have changed. Dirk, great start, up 3 positions, as is for Talisburg as well. Biggest starter in the end though, of course, is Igor, as we get a 3-second time penalty already for Max. Multiple warnings. Igor starting to make moves up the field as well in the Mercedes-Benz, gets through the first 4 drivers. Interested to see what he can do now. Is he able to get higher up the grid, and is he able to score some good points? I'm sure it's going to be damage limitation for Igor at the moment. He has not got the DRS to play with either, so he's going to have to look at himself and really see what he can do as we go through to start lap number 3 now, and Selly 360, 1.8 seconds now ahead of Carl. As we see Gatkowski, will he try and go around the outside of Carl? Surely not in towards turn 1, can't quite get that move done, too little space there, but Carl runs it wide, and that's put Gatkowski, brilliant switchback manoeuvre. Can he go around the outside of Villeneuve? No, as he cannot do that into Tamburello, sorry, should I say, into Villeneuve we go now. Can he go around the outside? It's a really fast right-handed corner. He's on the inside now for the next part, and he is through. What a move from the championship leader. But we see Carl potentially trying to go around the outside again, gets a better exit round the long way. Can he initially get the traction around the outside? Great racing between these two, and he just about keeps the position. Carl in the Ferrari, the Tifosi will be loving this one, keeps that second position. Great racing between the two. But this is just allowing Selly to get away, and Gatkowski knows it. He understands he needs to get as much points as possible. Oh, he almost loses it, Gatkowski there, actually, going into Aqua Minerale. But Carl, absolutely incredible moves to get back around the outside, should I say, of the Mercedes-Benz driver. As we go through now the high chicane at the top of the circuit. And the car's starting to bunch up there, but you can just see on the minimap, look at that, Selly 360, absolutely checked out at the front. An impetuous champion last time out. Absolutely amazing season from him. He was so consistent, and yet again, now that he's back here, he's absolutely checked out at the front. 25.5 for that last lap, as Gatkowski is potentially going to go again and see what he can do on the Ferrari, but it seemed a bit too far behind this time around. As we go towards turn 1, doesn't seem to have the speed in the straight line, not at the moment. But Carl doing a great job at defending at the moment. I'm sure he'll be happy with the podium here on Ferrari's home soil at the Imola circuit. Of course, unfortunately, we did not have a race in real life here this year, even though we all know Max Verstappen would have won it by about 3 minutes anyway. Of course, there was absolutely terrible flooding going on in the state of San Marino, and of course Bologna. So it's very similar in that sense today with the weather that's going on here. Is Igor now still stuck in 17th, and I believe he's got a penalty actually as well. I actually missed that. Go through now. See, yeah, he's got a 3-second time penalty already, and look at that, he's just stuck behind these cars. There's nothing he can do at the moment. Just cannot quite get through. You can see he's got so much more pace, and he's getting frustrated. He's getting so frustrated behind that, and look at that. That's putting the AlphaTauri ahead of him now, and he's down in another position because he gets so frustrated and Twist just drives around the outside of him. And Igor is doing everything he can, but he just doesn't seem to have what it takes at the moment because of the conditions potentially being stuck behind the cars in front. As we got Zorzo battling out with Spanias as well, goes down the inside just about, gets the move done. Around the final corner, and he's just about there or thereabouts through on Spanias as we go towards the start of lap number 5 now. We see some battling behind as well. The McLaren going down the inside of Spanias, and he's up now into P11. His spies are in the McLaren. I'm sure he'll want to battle it out with his teammate up front as we see some overtakes as well. Max going down the inside of Lars as well. The two AlphaTauris having a bit of a battle with the Williams as well, but it is Selly 360 champion, the reigning champion should I say. 4.4 seconds clear at the moment. Of course, no points scored in the first race of the season, and he's going to want to put that right this time out here at the Imola circuit. Brilliant racing at the moment. Azem gets a 3-second time penalty as well. That's massive already. Only 5 laps into this race, and Azem already got a 5-second time penalty in that Alfa Romeo. He's right on board with Dirk now. Great start for him, like we mentioned before. Really interesting to see what he can do now with the rest of this race. 5 laps into it now, of course. 32 lap race here at the Imola circuit. As Eagle gets another 3-second time penalty. He must be struggling there in the Mercedes. Yeah, he's lost time to the cars in front as well. He's not having the race he's wanted, but he just needs to stick it out really. Hope there's a safety car to bring the field closer together, and I'm sure he'll be happy if he can do something there. Is into the pits we actually have is it Spanias? Yes. Does he have a front wing damage potentially? If not, I know he's retired from the session, as Igor comes into the pits as well, and he retires as well. He's not happy, and he's not going to be continuing this race. It's a shame to see, but like we mentioned, oh, he's got a bit of contact in the background. Yes, I think it was it Justas? Yes, it was. No, Justas. Oh, I missed that, but Justas is out of the race as well. Safety car is deployed. I think there was a bit of contact between him and the Red Bull of Troye and Justas. Let's see if we can see him on the left hand side. Yes, into the barrier, and he is out of the race. One of the fastest drivers on the grid out of the race, and just like that, 2 people who could be championship contenders, Justas and Igor, out of the race with only 6 laps gone. And this is going to open the door brilliantly for people like Selly, Karl Gatkowski to really close in, and of course Vaporizer as well. But I'm sure Selly will not be happy about this one, because he had such a brilliant gap out front, over 4.5 seconds at the time, and the safety car has come and ruined that for him. What will the drivers do now? Those 6-lap old intermediates, doesn't look like the conditions are changing, but will they come in and put some fresh ones on? If I was them, I probably would. Interesting though, what will Selly do? Reigning champion. He's going to be the person to make the first call, burning some fuel now. Yes, into the pit lane he goes. He's onto the fresh intermediates. I'm sure that'll be followed by the rest of the grid as well. Let's see what they do. Yes, the Ferrari is in. Gatkowski is in as well. Is the McLaren in? Yes, the McLaren of Dirk is in as well, as is Vaporizer. Everyone taking this opportunity to strap on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Absolutely everybody into the pit lane at the moment. The cars come out. Vaporizer comes out just behind, of course, not done his pit stop yet. Stop from the Haas boys as Lars stays out actually. Will he be ahead of Selly 360? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So Lars leads this race. Maybe a bit of a 15 minutes of glory for the Williams driver, but he will be leading this Grand Prix. Selly 360, reigning champion in 2nd place. He's now going to have a car to contend with, and he's going to want to get that out of the way as quickly as possible without being caught by Karl Gatkowski or Dirk behind. Vaporizer stays in P6. But as we mentioned, Selly stuck behind Lars now. And Lars in the Williams up into P1. I'm sure if this was real life, James Vowles would be absolutely brimming with a smile to see his Williams car up in P1. At the moment, It is him, followed by Selly 360 Carl in the Ferrari. Great start from him. What happened to Vaporizer? Oh no, Vaporizer spun! Vaporizer has spun under the safety car. I do not believe what I have seen. He's done a George Russell. That is absolutely tragic for Vaporizer. Now down to P14. I was just saying this has really brought him back into the race. And just like that, absolute calamity for the Haas team. Justas out causing the safety car. And now Vaporizer spins out and is down into P14. I don't know if there's any contact between him and other drivers. From what I saw, it certainly didn't look that way. But if there was, that is not what you like to see. Arzem, of course, was the car behind, and it didn't look like there was any issue. But, oh, you hate to see it. Vaporizer, so much pace, of course. Qualified P2. Last time out in Australia, it was a mistake. Getting a 3-second time penalty cost him second place. And this time, it's a mistake again. That's going to cost him fighting for potentially a win, or at least a podium. And he's now stuck down into P14. Oh, Vaporizer, penny for his thoughts at the moment. But currently, with him being in P14, that's going to be a smile to the face, of course, of Selly 360 Carl and especially Gatkowski, because Gatkowski knows if he can't get the win this time out, if Selly's just got too much pace, it's damage limitation for his championship lead here at the Imola circuit. Like we mentioned before, Lars in the lead at the moment. Selly 360 hustling in behind. Interesting to see when the safety car will be. I think it should be in this lap, and then we'll see when Lars decides to go. Of course, his tyres are 7 laps old now. They are not going to be feeling good. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Selly 360 potentially going around the outside of the Williams driver into turn 1 if he can get a good exit out the final corner. I'm sure we'll see the safety car lights coming soon, but we do have a Red Bull that's not on the back of the pack yet, so that might mean an extra lap is coming. But I would not be surprised here if we get a safety car in very, very late. So Lars needs to be careful that he gives himself enough time. With the Red Bull coming back, yes it does. Safety car coming in this lap now. So let's see when Lars decides to go in the Williams. Of course, he's getting throttle held at the moment, taking his time. Let's see what he decides to do. Safety car not in the pit lane yet, so he's not got a lot of time to decide when to absolutely floor it around the final corner now. Still not decided to go yet. What can the Williams driver do for a restart? Sid going to the pit lane now, just about takes it there, and I think he's caught Selly 360 napping slightly. But as we come through towards turn 1 now, will Selly use the energy that he has to potentially make a move on the Williams driver? Yes, he does. Selly 360 takes the lead again of the Grand Prix here in Italy. And look at Carl as well, battling out with Gatkowski and Dirk as well. As Lars goes off once more, Gatkowski, Dirk and Arzem as well battling out. But Carl is through into P2 as Lars goes slightly wide. And that's put Gatkowski on the inside of the Williams as well. Just about makes the move. Dirk as well trying to go down the inside of Arzem, who got the move done on the McLaren going through the Tamburello chicane, and it is done. And let's see the Aston Martin down the inside as well. Zorzo, can he get the move done on Dirk? It's been a terrible restart for the McLaren driver of Dirk, but he just about keeps the position. And Selly 360 back to status quo. He's up into P1, Carl P2, and Gatkowski in P3. Lars stuck in P4 after a terrible restart for them on 7-lap all tyres. Surely Arzem can go around the outside of Aqua Minarelli. Can't do that. He'll get a warning for that as well. Comes through. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the drivers, and yes, Arzem's round. Oh, it's terrible. Arzem is off the circuit, just about keeps it on. But the Alfa Romeo driver had to make the move and unfortunately couldn't do it. Vaporizer down into 15th in the end as well. Battling between Mick and Max as well. Mick just about gets through on the AlphaTauri driver. Gatkowski is now going to want to see if he can get through on Carl as well. But Carl is not being left by Selly 360 at the moment. Lars in P4 has got Dirk right up his chuff at the moment. He wants to get the move done as quickly as possible. Riding on board now with the McLaren driver. What can he do? Around the outside of the long straight. I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be happy that we have this straight now, of course, at Imola. Yes, he's down the inside, and he just about gets the move done. As we see, Frank is potentially down the inside as well. The Williams driver is a bit of contact, just about keeps it on circuit. And look at that, Zorzo around the outside as well. Can he get two of them? Surely he can't do that. Going towards the Villeneuve chicane now around the outside, will he? As we just go through, yes, just about does it. What a move from FVR Zorzo. 2 for the price of 1, up into P5. What a move from the Aston Martin driver. Frankis gets the move done on Lars, but at what cost? He's now down into P6. As you can see, Lars just absolutely falling down the field now as well. Been overtaken by the second McLaren of Spicer at the moment. Max potentially down the inside as well. Can't quite get the move done. And Vaporizer in 15th too. He's stuck there. As we've got the Ferrari and the Williams side by side now. What can they do? Surely not. Yes, Dapplepad I thought would get a penalty for that. Oh, is it more contact between the drivers? Going towards the chicane now. 3 wide almost. Surely can't do that. They decide to tuck in the end, does Dapplepad. And Dapplepad just about stays there as Max goes down the inside of Lars as well. Lars' tyre is absolutely falling off cliff at the moment. Carl starting to be dropped now by Selly as well as we go through to start lap number 11. Selly with a brilliant time there, 23.5. Times are getting quicker and quicker. Not sure if we'll see a dry circuit by the end of the race. I'm sure we'll soon find out as the Williams swap positions. Don't think Lars wanted to hold up his teammate too much. Mick down the inside. As we see in the background, fighting out is Arzem trying to go down the inside. Luke, he's trying to go down the inside. Yes, he was. Twist kept it in the end though, and Daddlepad is able to keep it. Zorzo, is he up into P4? Yes, he just about up into P4, but Dirk. Oh, Dirk had such brilliant pace before. You can see he's already right into the back of Zorzo once again. Of course, did 2 for the price of 1. Got himself up into P4 now. What a move from the Aston Martin drivers. Now 1-4 for Aston Martin, and this will be brilliant for them in the constructors standings, of course, with Mercedes-Benz leading that after a 1-3 finish last time out at the Australian Grand Prix. Zorzo then a great move for him. Let's see at the back as well, Vaporizer trying to get through on Luke as well, but that restart, or that spin under the safety car, should I say, is really caused issues for Vaporizer. He's just stuck behind this pack now. As Twist gets 3 second time penalty, you see in front, drivers battling out as well, but just looking at Vaporizer now, he's just really struggling. As down the inside goes the Alfa Romeo and the Alfa Tauri, almost a bit of contact, but they stay together. They stay on the circuit, thankfully. Well, look at this now, Vaporizer. He's going to want to get around the outside of this Alfa Romeo. Does he have the straight line speed to do so? It looks like he does, using all of his energy. And he is through. Can he potentially get another move on the Alfa Tauri? He's all going towards turn 1. Don't think it's going to be possible. No, it is not. Vaporizer, like we mentioned before, really threw it away under the safety car. For anyone who's joining us, Igor is out of the race. Justas, of course, a man who would be wanting to fight for the championship, also out as well. So that's 2 championship contenders. And then Vaporizer as well, who wants to fight for the championship. Now down in P14 after losing it under the safety car conditions. Spins by himself and has put him down into P14. We see here Talisbury as well, right on the back of Frankis, the man who finished 2nd last time out at the Australian Grand Prix, has now got the Red Bull of Talisbury right on the back of him as we go through that coming around now. Such a hard traction zone in the wet, just about keeps it together. Will Talisbury do anything? No. Weaving from left to right, he wants Frankis to get out of the way as quickly as possible, but he's not able to do so, as Gatkowski is also right on the back of Carl, fighting out for P2. Will he use some of his energy now and try and get through on the Ferrari? I think he will. Carl will be struggling for energy now. He's only got 10% left, and this is going to put Gatkowski right on the rear wing of the Ferrari driver. He goes defensive to the inside. Can he go around the outside though? Gatkowski into turn 1. Yes, he can. Just about had the overspeed, and the championship leader sets his sights on Selly 360, the reigning champion. It was Gatkowski last season who could stop Selly on his flight to the Season 4 title, and he couldn't quite do it, but this season things are different. He wants to take that championship and wrestle it away from Selly 360, and he's done everything he needs to do to get into that fight. As we see here, battling in the background, Talisbury does get through on Frankis, almost loses it actually, and that's put Max through on the inside as well. But of course, Max with penalty is going to be hard for him to stay in that position. Frankis falling down the field. Vaporizer is now up into 13th as well. As you can see, some battling in the background. Also, a bit of contact between the drivers. Arzem, of course, who was doing brilliantly in the race, lost it and is now down in last position. Can he potentially get a move done on the Red Bull? No, he cannot. And the Alfa Romeo really struggling to get through, as Luke gets a 3-second time penalty as well. But Arzem had a brilliant first few laps of the race, struggling now. The Red Bull lets him through though there. Not entirely certain what that was about. But Arzem through, up into P16. As Gatkowski now sets his sights And Selly 360, I think his gap is slightly coming down. Yes, as Gatkowski sets the fastest lap of the race. So he wants exactly to fight for that race victory. As Zorzo in P4 now, still pulling Dirk along quite nicely. These two having a bit of a race of their own at the moment. Well, interesting to see now what Gatkowski can do. Spicer down the inside of Frankis. Frankis falling like a stone at the moment through the standings as Arzem gets through on Lars as well. 13 lap old. Oh no, as Selly gets 3-second time penalty. Absolutely massive. We were singing his praises early on in the race. The man who got pole position, which by over 2.5 tenths, which is almost like a country mile here in Flashpoint, gets a 3-second time penalty unless he can do something to wrestle the car 3 seconds clear of Gatkowski. I hope that he gets a penalty. It is going to be Gatkowski in the pound seat to get a race victory, but Carl as well. Of course, such a brilliant qualifier is Carl. We saw it last season, got some pole positions, some fastest laps. Didn't quite get the results he wanted in the races. He got too many penalties and so on. Hopefully I'm not commentators cursing at the moment, but at the moment he's doing a brilliant job to stay with Gatkowski. Vaporizer up another position as well, up into P12 in the race. You must hear how much the wheels are locking up on the Ferrari. But it seems like the Ferrari at the moment sticking with Gatkowski after holding him off for so long. He's definitely just being pulled along by the Mercedes-Benz at the moment. He was trying to get closer and closer to Selly 360, who's really feeling the pressure at the moment, it looks like. Down to 1.5 seconds now. Had a bit of a tough first few corners. Now down to 1.4 seconds. 1.3. Lost the rear end. And Selly, look at him again. The car is not responding to what he wants to do. He's feeling the pressure, is the reigning champion. As we've got another yellow flag in the first sector. It looks like an Alfa Romeo. Was it? Yes, of Luke. Don't think that'll be a safety car. Must have been a bit of contact between him and other drivers. As Mick gets down the inside of Spicer as well. Into Tosa. Just about keeps through. Yes, he does. Will Spicer trying around that side? No, he cannot do that. And we see Daddlepad as well, just in that battle too. But like we mentioned, Selly is definitely feeling the breath of Kay Gatkowski down his neck, of course. He understands he's got to do everything he can to get as many points on the board after missing the first round. But right now, he's the one who's made the mistake. And he has got Gatkowski breathing down his neck in the Mercedes-Benz. As Daddlepad gets through on Spicer as well, and then good battle for the final point going on there. But this is what we're focusing on at the moment. Carl in the Ferrari as well. Really just there or thereabouts to fight with these three for the race victory. Of course, at the moment, if things were to finish now, Selly would win on circuit, but of course it would be Gatkowski making it 2 from 2 with the penalty that Selly's got. As Max gets through on Talisborough as well. Yes, he does. Going towards turn 1 now. Will Tallers potentially try and get a move down the inside? Can't quite do anything about the sister team car of the Alpha Tauri. Good move in the end. Selly seems to have found his feet once more. Gap is now up against the 1.5 seconds, but one thing I will say, the rain has definitely stopped here at the Imola circuit. As we've got another yellow flag in the final sector. Is that Arzem coming into the pits? Excuse me, no, it's Luke DNFing in the pits. But the rain has stopped here at the Imola circuit. And the track will be drying out from now until the end of the race. So interesting to see what will happen here, but like I mentioned, it looked like Gatkowski was being held up behind Carl in the Ferrari, but as soon as Gatkowski's gone through, Carl is not being let go by the Mercedes-Benz. He's really, really pushing now to keep on the back of the championship leader. There's a bit of a lock up there again for Gatkowski. See how much the rears lock. So easy to lose the car. To go through the final corner now, speaking of which, Carl almost loses it. Going through. And the gap is now again back up to 1.6 seconds as Max is 3 second time penalty once again for running wide at the final corner. Dirk being dropped now by Zorzo. Zorzo's just got a bit too much pace for the McLaren driver. Still a good race from him at the moment. Zorzo, bit of a world of his own. Currently, his Vaporizer now up into the points positions, just about down the outside of Daddlepad. Yes, just about gets it done. Oh, goes straight through and off the circuit. Gets a 3 second time penalty. And I must admit, you can't complain about that one, Vaporizer. He gets through. Will he get an illegal overtake? I don't think he has. I don't think he has somehow. I'm sure he'll say that the 3 second time penalty is damage enough So he's going to stay ahead of the Ferrari driver as we go through Tosa now towards the top of the hill. And Vapaz has struggled a lot with that corner this race. 3 times I've seen him go off there. And it's been a really scruffy race for the Haas team, with Justas in the barrier and Vaporizer in P10, but with a penalty as well. Finishing this race with no penalties would have been massive for him, as Dirk gets a 3-second time penalty as well. That's a big penalty for the McLaren driver. Such a good race for him so far. As we just go past half race distance now. Dirk in the McLaren gets that 3-second time penalty, and that's going to give Zorzo a bit of breathing space as well in the Aston Martin. As he pulled in slightly actually by the McLaren driver. Carl, though, look at that, right on the back of Gatkowski. He is not being left behind by that Mercedes. And the fight for second place on the circuit is still massive, but if these two start squabbling, this will really help Selly pull away and get that 3 seconds. But at the moment, this is the fight for the victory. It's Carl versus Gatkowski. I'm sure that Tifosi will be absolutely loving this, seeing the Ferrari team fight for a victory, should I say, and potentially, if Carl can keep doing this type of racing, a championship this season as well. Dadopad gets another 3-second time penalty, and Lars into the pits onto medium tyres. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do. Very interesting to see what he can do. The first man to risk it. Like we mentioned, the rain has stopped, but the track is looking very, very wet at the moment. What can he do on those tyres? Locking up. It doesn't look too bad at the moment. I think it's that time. It is that time. The tyres are starting to come into play. So what will the drivers at the front do? Spicer gets a 3-second time penalty in the system. McLaren doesn't look too bad. Maybe one more lap and the drivers will be in. What will Selly do? Is this the lap for him? Into the pits? No, he stays out. What about Gatkowski? Not looking to pit either. Will Carl? No, he looked at it, but he's not deciding to come into the pit lane now. He's using a lot of his overtake though, as we see Gatkowski in front doesn't have as much overtake to use. At the moment, it is the top 3 who we are focusing on, but a few of the drivers are coming into the pits at the moment as well. Max into the pits, Talisber into the pits, as Lars gets a 3-second time penalty after putting those mediums on. But yeah, there's mediums going on to the Red Bull, mediums going on to the rest of the drivers. Yes, you see the Ferrari team getting ready for Daddelpad as well, putting the medium tyres on. The moment has come, everyone's decided to put those medium tyres on, so this will be the lap, I'm sure. We see the top 8 coming to pits. Yes, DRS is enabled now. And Selly, 2.3 seconds clear. He's going to hope now he can put everything together and get some good lap times to put him more than 3 seconds clear of the guys in front, and he's going to be begging for there not to be a safety car, because if so, and the field come close together, it's going to be the end of him fighting for the race victory in this race here at Imola. But Carl, like I say, right on the back of Kei Gatkowski. He wasn't left behind at all by the Mercedes driver when he overtook him. It's been an absolutely fabulous race so far from Carl, I must say. Early shout for driver of the day in that Ferrari car. There or thereabouts in terms of pace, fighting for a victory. Great qualifying as well. Will Carl stay out? No, he doesn't. Everybody into the pits then. What can these drivers do? What will they go on to? I assume everyone will go on to mediums. Potentially you might see people go on to soft tyres. It's mediums for Selly. Also for Gatkowski, both him and the Ferrari of Carl go out onto mediums. And Selly out in mediums as well. Zorzo stays out though. There's a bit of battling, yes, between him and Dirk. And Dirk just about gets the move done, and he leads the Grand Prix at the moment. Of course, it was Dirk and Zorzo. Zorzo looked like he had the pace on Dirk, but these two have left it way too late currently. And with DRS enabled, these two are going to be losing so much time to the cars. Unless we get some sort of safety car happening now, which I don't think we do, as a purple final sector for Max, actually. You can see how much time they've gained on people like Carl, people like Gatkowski and Selly and so on. But Zorzo and Dirk, as Lars gets the fastest lap of the race, they're going to be losing a lot of time. Yeah, you can see, look at that, Selly's the gap between him and his teammate Zorzo going down as the seconds go by. As Talib gets a 3-second time penalty as well, that's massive too. 3-second time penalty for him. Nearly everybody in the field has a time penalty. Only Troje, Frankis, Carl, Gatkowski and Zorzo don't have time penalties at the moment. So they must know, surely Gatkowski and Carl, that if they just keep it within the white lines, they're going to be in a brilliant position in the final few laps of this race. Selly's now 2.8 seconds clear, 2.7 should I say, of Gatkowski. He's going to want to see if he can get that 3-second gap. But at the moment, Gatkowski is still under a lot of pressure. The Ferrari driver with Carl behind. Will Carl get DRS? Yes, he does. Just about. Let's see how much he can close in on Gatkowski in front. It's not going to be enough to make the overtake, but I think it's going to be enough to stay within the DRS as Max gets past that, followed up by Talisber instantly. I think Carl's going to be doing everything he can now to stay within that DRS of the Mercedes-Benz in front. Oh, you see that Gatkowski almost loses it on the curb. It just about keeps it. That was heart-in-mouth stuff for the championship leader. Just about keeps it together, but he's feeling the pressure as well of Carl behind. He knows he's got to keep the pace high to stay within that 3-second gap without getting penalty himself. Only 4/10 in at the moment, but he's also got the Ferrari breathing down his neck. The championship leader keeps pushing to get as close as he can to Selly 360, but we saw the pace that Selly had before. If he's got the same pace in the dry, and if he can pull that 3 seconds, it's going to be Gatkowski who's struggling to keep hold of P2 at the moment, it seems. And look at this now, Carl right on the back once more of the Mercedes-Benz driver. Purple middle sector for the Ferrari man, well within DRS. And Gatkowski almost lost it coming out of the Tamburello chicane. Oh, is he almost losing it again coming out the final corner? Gatkowski is not having a good time on these medium tyres. The Ferrari of Carl comes underneath us almost. You'll see him sink underneath the rear wing. Look how close he's getting now. Will he potentially try around a move? No, he cannot quite do it. Not close enough. But Gatkowski is feeling the pressure, and he's now 3.2 seconds behind. Selly 360 will take the race victory as it stands at the moment. So it is a fight for P2 with this battling going on at the moment. It looks like Carl is really, really pushing now in that Ferrari car. Around at the top of the circuit now through the long left-hander. It's going to be hard for Carl, of course, to follow Gatkowski through these corners and stay close. You'll see him there almost losing a little bit of time. Still, of course, well within that DRS as we go into Aqua Minerale for the 22nd time. And see Gatkowski again had to have a few double stabs at the wheel. He's really struggling there. He's back within that 3 seconds. He's really having to push. Purple sector for him, but Carl is even closer than last time. As Frankis gets a 3-second time penalty, as Mick gets another 3-second time penalty. A lot of the drivers getting penalties at the moment. We've got a yellow flag in the middle sector. Once again, Gatkowski just seems to be struggling. Carl, will he potentially go for a move? He seems to be closer this lap around. What can the Ferrari driver do? He's opening up his DRS. He is not defending. Carl goes down the inside, up into P2. And if he can keep the pace up, he is on track to catch Selly 360 if he can stay within them 3 seconds. But now we'll see what he can do, of course. The last time he was in front of Gatkowski, he really struggled for pace. Maybe it's a case of who was ever behind has the more pace in the slipstream. But now is your time to shine, Carl, if you can do something in that Ferrari and get a home win for the Tifosi for Ferrari. This is the moment. So he's got yellow flag in sector 1. I think somebody in the pit lane potentially. No, we're okay at the moment. Is it Twist? Yes, he's got no front wing. I think he lost his front wing in an incident. He'll be coming back to the pits, I'm sure, as Carl isn't leaving Gatkowski behind. I think it's going to be a bit of a tussle to the end, this one, between the Ferrari man and the Mercedes-Benz driver. As Carl, like I said, he's got the Mercedes right behind him now, and this is actually costing them more time. Selly is now pulling away even further. Carl seems to be much happier defending, being behind and attacking Gatkowski than he does defending him. As we go through the final corner now, what can Gatkowski do? Will he get through on at the inside? Yes, he does. I think Carl's not looking to fight that. He does the fastest lap of the race. But I think he understands he's better following Mercedes-Benz at the moment, as they've now got Selly out of their 3-second windows. Vaporize gets the fastest lappers of the race as well, up in P9 at the moment. Zorzo battling out with Talisba. See Vaporize as well going down the inside of Frankis, drops down another position. Of course, finished P2 last time out. Zorzo up into P6 at the moment. Of course, that will become P4 when penalties are applied, as Dirk and Max battle it out. Twist gets a 5-second penalty for speed in the pit lane. I'm sure he's retiring. Yes, he is. A yellow flag in that sector. You see now, though, Carl starting slowly to drop back from Gatkowski. Is Gatkowski using this as his moment, or is Carl just saving the car, saving what he can, being pulled along by the Mercedes driver to attack later on in the race? Unless Selly makes him another mistake, or unless there's another safety car, it's looking like it's going to be him taking the victory. Here is Dirk down the inside. Look at that, 3 wide almost for these cars. Max down the inside. Can we see Dirk get the move done once again? Yeah, a bit of contact between them. You see the Aston Martin in the background of Zorzo. Can he get through on the inside of Max? Bit of contact between the two. Almost bumping and barging, but they've kept it together just about now. What about Talisbury? Has he got something to say about this one as well? Riding on board with the Red Bull man now. The AlphaTauri of Max gets through. Can we see Talisbury around the outside? Don't think we're going to be able to do that, but one person who is going to get the move done is Max once again into turn 1. He's going to be up into P4. Great move in the end from the AlphaTauri man. And these guys having an absolute ding-dong for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment. Going through. It's a shame there's penalties being applied for these guys. But Max gets up into P4. Dirk down now in P5. Zorzo in 6th. Sixth on circuit, but of course. Coming through now, he sees Zorzo. Trying to go through. Oh, we see that the Haas of Vaporizer went really wide there. That's not going to be what he'll be looking to do. As Carl once again tucked right up in the slipstream of Gatkowski. Max is now 10 seconds behind as Carl goes through towards turn 1 now. Don't think he's going to have enough to make a move down the inside. Will he? No, just doesn't have enough going through into Tamburello. What about Zorzo though? What can he do? Can he get through on Dirk? These guys really struggling for ERS deployment now. Defending going on all over. Max defending. Can he go around the outside though, Dirk? Can he? Yes, he does. What a move from the McLaren driver. Lap number 26, and Dirk gets the move of the race so far. Max couldn't do anything to defend it, went to the inside, and Dirk said, do you know what then? I'll go around the outside. It looks like Dirk just decided, you know what? Wherever you're going to brake, I'm going to brake later. He did that round the outside. What a move from the McLaren man. Incredible to get him up into P4. And that's put Max on the back foot, and now you see Zorzo really starting to attack, and this has given Dirk a little bit of breathing space, already a second ahead. And broken that DRS, but what a move for Dirk in the McLaren. As Max gets another 3-second time penalty as well. That's going to be massive. It's Gatkowski! Gatkowski gets a penalty. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that has put him right on the back foot. And Carl is now guaranteed P2 if he can keep it here. Because it looks like a Zorzo gets through on the inside as well. Yeah, it's a bit of bumping, bit of barging, but he's through on the inside. Up into P5. As Dirk is now 2.2 seconds clear. These guys are battling out so much. You can see all the points paying positions down to P9 within that picture. But Gatkowski with that penalty, that's going to put Carl into P2. As we see so much fighting going on here. Can we see the Hask around the outside of Vaporizer? No, can't quite do it. But look at the Red Bull. Can he get through on the inside? Bit of contact. Doesn't quite make it through, but the driver's thankfully still on the track. And Carl in P3, he'll be more than happy to stay behind now. With those penalties, of course, he won't be catching. Selly 360 is now absolutely checked out in the distance. But with that penalty for Gatkowski, he'll have a solid P2 result in that Ferrari. I'm sure the Tifosi will be happy with that one. Lap number 27 here. And Zorzo comes through the inside of Aqua Minerale, and he is going to be fighting this one out, I am sure, to get back to Dirk. Of course, Dirk with that penalty as well. He's going to be vulnerable to Zorzo unless he can get even further ahead, of course. 2.3 seconds now the gap, though. If these guys keep squabbling, it can be a lot. See, look at Matt's got 14 seconds worth of penalties. Unbelievable at the moment. You can see with that the different types of penalties that people have got. As we see Carl through on the inside. Has Carl made the move? Yes, he does. Up into P2. He wants P2 on track. And he's absolutely going for it now. I think he can sense this potential for a race victory here as Max through on the inside of Zorzo as well. These positions change yet again, going towards Tamburello. Great move then. Spizo in the McLaren also gets the last points paying position off of Mick at the moment. That'll be crucial for the guys in orange. We can see Daddlepad as well. Got a lot of penalties at the moment, of course, but he'll still want to fight on the circuit. Will he try and throw a move down the inside of Tosa? No, he doesn't quite do it. Arzem as well in the Alfa Romeo, stuck there in the end. Carl, 4.9 seconds now. He's pulled the gap in slightly to Selly. He needs to be careful though, of course, because if he gets a penalty, that's going to put Gatkowski right back on him. But it is Selly 360 at the moment as we start lap number 29. 4 more laps to go here at the Imola Grand Prix circuit. Zorzo once again down the inside. Oh, bit of contact, bit of bumping, bit of barging. Vaporizer as well. What can he do? Can he potentially go around the outside of two of them? Don't think he's going to be able to do that. Needs a bit of space. Doesn't quite get it. But just about gets through into P6 though. Can he get the DRS now? And try and get through on the inside of Zorzo. You can see the Alpha Tauri in the background as well, battling him out. He's got the straight line speed though. Oh, there's a bit of defence going on from the Aston Martin. Down the inside. You can see Max around the outside as well. Gets the move done. Will he try and get through on the inside? No, he doesn't. Red Bull in the background. Almost going to the back of the Aston Martin. Doesn't quite do it. Great move in the end from Vaporizer. Now he's going to absolutely bolt to try and get as many points as possible, having been stuck behind the drivers for so long. Zorzo though in P7 still on track to get P5 currently if he can stay within this group. Carl lost quite a bit of time there as well in this lap, so I think he's going to know now that that P1 is not really up for grabs unless we see Selly get another penalty, and then it will be up for discussion. Carl, brilliant race currently. Let's see if Gatkowski's got a bit more energy to play with as well. Always been so good, hasn't he, Gatkowski, of saving his energy. See if he has something that he can do. I see now Vaporizer's starting to stretch his legs a little bit. They were battling into here last time out, but he's starting to slightly pull away. Yes, Gatkowski down the inside. I think Carl tried it, wanted to see what pace he had, but I think he's realised he's not able to catch Selly 360 and wants to tuck him right behind now. Gatkowski within that 3 seconds to get that P2. As we see going towards turn 1, Vaporizer, no energy to play with, and Max down the inside again. Of course, he's got so many penalties, Max. This is really just for pride. With that said, Vaporizer is not going to see the end of this one. He's going to see if he can go through towards Villeneuve. Can't pass through into there. What about into Tosa? If he tucks right in behind the slipstream now, don't think he's close enough to go down the inside of Tosa. Zozo, like I say, still up. Potentially get a P5 result in the Aston Martin, which I think will be a massive result for him. Dirk in P4 currently, and he will stay in P4. Now Carl as well. You can see Gatkowski done everything he can actually to get out of that, get out of the DRS on. He's just about done it. Maybe he's decided now this is the moment to go, and he's going to see if he can actually get that 3 seconds from Carl as Gatkowski gets the fastest lap of the race. Saved a lot of it for now. That's going to be an extra point in the championship, crucial for him if he can keep that fastest lap. Carl, though, needs to stay composed if he wants to get that second place. He wants to make sure he doesn't get a penalty. As we see yet again, Max on the defensive from Vaporizer. Can Vaporizer get through on the inside? Don't think he's close enough. No, he isn't. We see the Aston Martin of Zorzo trying to feint a move, not able to do it. Red Bull went slightly wide there. That's going to put Frankis on his rear end as well. And you see as well, last points paying position. A lot of battling going on for these as well. Spicer in the McLaren holding on at the moment to that P10 position just about, but the cars are coming in behind thick and fast trying to get that final point for their team. You see the Williams of Mick trying to push the McLaren through the corner, and with 1.5 laps to go it is getting very close here at the Imola circuit. A great enthralling race as Selly starts his final lap in a few corners time. And look at these drivers here, Max, Vaporizer, Zorzo, Talisba, Frankis. Look how close they all are coming through the chicane at the top of the circuit, and Vaporizer gets down the inside. Is he able to stay there? Yes, just about down the inside, but of course you're going to have Zorzo. Is he going to try and go down the inside as well? You can see, oh, the AlphaTauri and the Haas, almost a bit of contact. Zorzo push wide as well. Oh, and he can't be doing this without the penalty. He wants to make sure he doesn't get a penalty now. He's going to just be within The 3 seconds is to go through. If he keeps it here or thereabouts, what about these guys then? Is Max going to have to defend from Vaporizer? No, but Vaporizer is definitely going to have to defend from the Red Bull as we go through now. Talisman down the inside just about gets the move done, and that is for position. Both have the same 3 second time penalty, so that's going to be crucial. Zorzo down the inside as well. Surely he can't get a move through. No, he cannot. But great battling in the end. You can see in the background as well. Mick through on the inside up into P10. Of course, he's got 6 seconds of time penalties. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. But look at these guys now, battling all over the circuit. But as we come through the final few corners, we said the reigning champion, Selly 360, we said he needed to have a great result today. Not only did he get pole position, but he has fought back for the first time this season. Selly 360, the reigning champion, takes victory here at the Imola circuit. Gatkowski gets second on circuit, but what a race from Carl. Up in P2, the Tifosi will be loving that. And then what about these guys then? Where's the battle here? We can see Dirk's going to come into P4. Great result for him in the McLaren. But we want to see where the battles are coming through here. Don't think there's going to be any battles finally across the line. Where will Zorzo finish in the end when penalties are applied? It is P5 in the end. Great result. What about these guys then? Look how close they are coming across the line. It's going to be finger close. Oh, it's the Ferrari if Dapplepad goes right across them. And in the end, it is Arzem who gets the final point. Spicer in P9 in the McLaren. But what an enthralling race at the end. Started wet, but it is Selly 360 in the Aston Martin who takes the race. You see the top 3 there. Carl, though, I must say, such a brilliant race from him in the Ferrari. And you know what? Selly 360 absolutely dominant at the front, but with Carl, no penalties. Finished 1.9 seconds behind the race winner. Of course, Selly 360, such brilliant pace, but Carl really put a brilliant show on for the Tifosi, and I would definitely give him driver of the day as the race is over, riding on board with him now. What a result for the Ferrari man. I'm sure he'll absolutely be more than happy with that. So with that said, it is going to be Gatkowski, of course, leading the championship with 41 points, I believe, after he gets that fastest lap as well. We see the drivers coming out to celebrate now. Selly 360, what can you say for this man? So dominant last time out. 5 race wins last season. And he's got his first of this one in the Aston Martin. Raising that trophy now. New team, new season, but the same result for Selly 360. And then, of course, Carl in P2 and Gatkowski in P3. In the end, I'm sure he'll be happy with that still being on the podium. Because, of course, the podiums are what bring you championships here. As the celebrations go. What a result for these guys. It is Selly 360 in the end who takes the victory from Carl in P2. And it is K. Gatkowski in third. And look at the amount of penalties for the drivers. Dirk, great result for him in the McLaren P4. I think another shout for driver of the day. And Zorzo too. Kept his nose clean from P10 to P2. Definitely, once again, a man who should be in the shout for driver of the day. And Talisman in 6th. Vaporizer 7th. What could have been for him in the Haas? Talisman, another great result for him as well. Frankis in 8th, of course, second last time out. Not going to be the home race that he's wanted. 9th is Spicer, and Arzem, after a race of so many trials and tribulations, finishes in P10 and rounds out the points paying positions. So thank you guys so much for watching us here on Flashpoint. Once again, another brilliant race. And next time out, we will be at the home of motorsport, the British Grand Prix, for a full qualifying and 50% race. So join us this time next week.